Yo, Sim, good, man.
Yo, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just getting on and getting on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Happy New Year. We're gonna
Happy
get
New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody's logged in.
look at Sim cheesing, man. The first time Sim has seen a 4-3 record in how many years? This guy's cheesing hard, man. He's trying to be humble, but this guy's cheesing big time.
I feel good about it. I'm not even trying to be humble about it. I feel good. I'm glad we are 4-3 right now. I'm not even trying to be humble. Shoot, I take it all day long.
Yo, salute to everybody in the chat. Jordan Johnson, Bodega Wi-Fi, Simba Singh, Antoine Wright. Yeah, man, let's get it, man. So again, we can talk about articles, but let's just talk about the game and what we got next, man. Obviously, the Knicks beat the Hawks. What was it, 110 to 112? No, 112.
113 to 108.
113 to 108, my bad. You've seen these superlative games by Mr. Julius Randle, who's turned the corner this year. I don't want to hear about anyone saying that has changed.
Hopefully he's, we still got a lot of season to go, but hopefully he's fully turned the corner. We'll see how it pans out.
Yep.
But I'm gonna tell you what, Tom Thibodeau definitely peeped my breakdown. He had to have seen my breakdown.
Oh Lord, this guy talking about his breakdown. He's had Joakim Noah. He's had Carlos Boozer do the same things in the pinch post and all that passing.
All I'm saying is he didn't know that Julius Randle could do those things until he saw my breakdown. And then he said, okay, I know how to use this guy. So I'm just saying.
Look at this guy. We have a new year. This guy gets cocky all of a sudden. Now he's coaching. Tom Thibodeau.
All I'm saying is my breakdown. If you go look at my Julius Randle breakdown in the coach's corner, everything that you see Julius Randle doing, I said he can use him this way. Go look at the breakdown.
Oh, Lord.
I also said in the breakdown is either going to go one or two ways with Julius Randle this year. He's either it's going to blow up with Tom Thibodeau, or he's going to have the best year of his career.
And he's definitely having the best year of his career. By the way,
so far,
I will post the video for the Julius Randle Coach's Corner breakdown, so everybody can check it out to see if Sim is lying or not.
See if I'm lying or not. It's all true.
You know Sim with Julius Randle. Sim didn't want Julius Randle to change for nothing last year. You know what I'm saying? That was one of Sim's favorite players.
You said I didn't want him to change? No. No. You're making up stuff. My whole argument about Julius Randle is that he didn't deserve to be a scapegoat. That things that everything led back to the way that they were using him as a player. That was my whole argument. I've never, ever changed that argument.
Look at him.
I argued about it for an entire year that he was being used as a scapegoat by Knicks fans. And it was uncalled for because it wasn't true.
He came and keep a straight face. Now, the scapegoat stuff, I agree.
Hey, yeah, man.
Look
I'm just saying. Everybody knows I've been talking about it even in the beginning of this season. Everyone, you love Julius Randle. I was like, I don't love Julius Randle. I was like, I just don't believe that he was a scapegoat. I was like, he's not even my favorite player. My favorite player is Frank Ntilikina.
Please don't say that.
I like several players before Julius Randle.
Oh Lord.
Julius Randle was never here nor there for me. He still isn't really here nor there for me. It's just that I didn't believe that he deserved to be the scapegoat when it was uncalled for. But
Now look at your boy Joe Madden, who literally destroyed Julius Randle.
Oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk about Joe.
And now he's changed around.
I don't even want to talk about Joe.
Get this team to the playoffs and attract free. You guys, salute to everybody, man. Delano, IBM, Big Gas, Sean Burrow, called 10, SJ the third, El Marshall, Quiet Money, Pedro Matos. Nick Watts, who tell you guys, man. But please, somebody call out Sim because and Delano still do. We know how Sim does. You know how that's why he's smiling. Look at him. That's why he's smiling.
What are they going to call me out on?
Remember this guy? When
I don't know what they're going to call me out on.
Remember when I told you out of the double team trap? If Isaiah is here,
that's not even true. I always said that he had a hard time passing out, that he needs to pass it out sooner. You need to go back and look at your own videos. I've said it on this show several times that he needs to work on passing. If you go look at the coach's corner, I said it on the coach's corner exactly what he needs to do.
I said it when we were talking about the end of one of your streams.
I have said it for the entire year that he needs to work on passing the ball out of the post quicker. I have several times I have mentioned how Julius Randle will hesitate before he passes to the open player. Some people my argument was that it's not that he doesn't want to do it. That was my whole argument. My whole argument is not that he didn't want to do it. Well, people said he doesn't want to pass. I said, no, he doesn't have the basketball acumen to make the pass. That's why he's hesitating. And then he passes it late. Several times I talked about a play with Damian Dotson at the top of the key. He was wide open. Julius Randle held the ball. Instead of making the pass, he held it. And then he made the pass. But by that time, the defense was ready to close out. You can go back and look. I've said it several times, and I know people in the chat know that I've said it several times. That's why I know I'm not even looking in the chat. And I'm pretty sure that they're like, yeah, he has said that stuff. Because I've only one
person has your back.
I have always pointed out the flaws of Julius Randle, but I have always protected Julius Randle as well because it was unfair that he was getting so much hate. And I will never, ever deny it. Even if he was doing terrible this year, I would have said, I still don't believe he deserved the hate. Because he received so much hate that was uncalled for last season. It was ridiculous. All throughout the summer, everybody's like, he's going to be traded. Other shows talking about he's going to be traded for Mike Conley and this and that and the third. And I'm like, that man's not going anywhere. He's going to be right here, even though they drafted Now, what I did say in the beginning of the season that it's likely that he gets traded or that he's not here next year. But now that might change.
Yeah, we're gonna get to. I think
that might change.
Change up, but let's get to this game. Let's get to your.
Yeah, let's get to it, man.
Negatives. Look at him smiling because I'm gonna pull a Josh because I exposed Josh. Josh say that I was not for trading, possibly trading Mitchell Robinson up for LaMelo Ball. And I said, bro, I gave him a video on IG where I said, bro, I said it here at 47 minutes, whatever. Then Josh said, oh, I know you said, like, Josh, I have to prove that.
Oh, Josh said you was not for trading him or you was for trading him?
I did, because I remember on your show, I did say I do think LaMelo Ball was overrated. How everybody said he's going to be next point guard. But I said I would not mind. Up for giving him up. And if it wasn't too much to get LaMelo Ball, like Mitch Robinson in the first, or maybe another one of the Mavericks picks or something like that, to up for him. But Josh, I killed Kevin Wright yesterday on Kevin Knox, bro. Don't come for me. I'm the champ right now. I'm Marvin Hagler right now before you let's get.
Hold on. I was cracking. I was watching the show, and then I had to go review some music, and then I came back and started watching the show again, and I was like, they're still talking about Kevin Knox like 45 minutes later. What is going on? But I heard you guys argue, and I was like, why did he choose that dude? Why did he choose Mike Dunleavy? I was like, come on. I was like, it doesn't even. And after he said that, I was like, he's done. I was like, damn. I'm like, Mike Dunleavy. I was like, what is he doing?
And you know what the trick is to those debates? You always want to let the other person go first, so you can do research while they talk.
Exactly.
We have a minute. So when
if I was him, I wouldn't even agree to do it because he had spoke about Kevin Knox for a whole 30 minutes. You know what argument? How was he going to compete? You knew his entire argument. I would have said, no, we need to do that another day because you knew his entire argument. There was no way he was going to compete. You had 30 minutes to come up with everything he's going to come up with. And when you started shooting out stuff about like stats on Mike Dunleavy, I was like, he's done. Ain't no way he's going to come back from that. Like, what can he say?
And the thing about that, it's not that I don't like Kevin. Look, I gave Kevin Knox praise in that Bucks game. I watched that Bucks game. He only had 7 points. But when I'm talking about his defense, the way he was all over the floor on Chris Middleton, helping out on Giannis, I said, if Kevin Knox could just give me, I don't even care about him being this high score. If he just gives me that, give me 2 threes a game, I'll be happy. I watched this whole game. I only counted 2 legitimately good defensive plays. I think he had one block. I think he had a foul that was BS. So I'll give him 3 plays. One foul was definitely BS. And then he had one on Kevin Porter. He guarded him down low. Kevin Porter threw an air ball or something. Kevin Knox guarded really well. The thing with Kevin Knox is he's not consistent. Now he hit 2 big threes. I ain't taking that away from him. It's just that the way that Kevin Wright makes it seems like he's this undercover jet. I'm like, dogs, he is what he is.
I mean, that's the biggest thing about him right now. He's not consistent. He's got to work on that consistency. I mean, you see the flashes of things he can do. You see what he did in Tampa, right? All of a sudden he was motivated because, he's at home and his parents are involved, and you see the energy that he played with and what he can do when he plays with that energy. But then all of a sudden it's like, where'd the same energy go? He's got to learn how to be consistent that way, because then the next night he didn't have that. I mean, so when he was in Tampa, he had the one play, I forgot where it was, where he should have went to the basket, but he passed it out to the corner and he threw it over the dude. He threw it out of bounds, right?
That's not the alley, right? No, that's not the alley.
No. He had the lane to the basket. He could have kept going to the basket, probably got a layup, maybe got fouled. Instead, he tried to throw it over to someone open in the corner. I don't know who it was, but it went out of bounds. A couple plays later is when he came down and tried to dunk it, coming down the same lane, the same baseline, right? And it's like you could see the bounce in his step. Make mistakes or not, you could see the bounce in his step because he was at home, because he's playing in front of his parents. Right. And he knows his dad's going to have something to say. Mom probably going to have something to say if he doesn't bring that bounce. You know what I'm saying? He's got to learn how to bring that bounce every single night. If he can bring just that bounce, he's not always going to hit the shot. But if he can bring that type of bounce every single night, he'll have good games. He's got to learn how to get it. He's got to learn how to do it.
He pulled a move, and we can just get into, because that was one of the questions having Kevin Knox, how to get the best out of him. Because he pulled the move. I forgot which game it was. I want to say it was one of the game. Maybe I think he was scoreless, and he threw a float up. Before he threw the float up, he trapped the defender on his hip. Which I said, okay. He trapped the guy on his hip, and then tried to time the float because he had the help defense in front of him. And it wasn't a bad float. It missed, but it's like, okay, Kevin, I want to see more of that. Drove, caught the guy on the hip, and he was literally cognizant. All right, I got him on the hip, and then threw the float up. It was great, just grazed the rim. And then you don't see any more of that. If you look at his stats, literally 41% of his shots are spot ups, right? All the corner, wings, whatever, which is fine, right? Then 24.5 of them are transition points or transition shots, right? He does have 13.2% of those are off screen, but he's only 3 for 6, right? So even then, I guess you could say guys are looking for whatever, but I'm going to ask this question to you, because I asked this to Kevin, and Kevin couldn't answer this. Do you think that there's an issue regarding his teammates not trusting him on the floor? Because you do see him make cuts, right? And if you look at the number of people, the percentages of the passes that go to him, right? So with Kevin Knox, it's improved since Rivers came here, but before that, it was worse. 27% of his passes come from Julius Randle. 18.6 of them come from Austin Rivers, who literally just got back 2 games ago. Right? The rest of them, you have Reggie Bullock at 10.1%. Alfred Payne is only at 3.1. Now, everybody knows Alfred Payne only passed to Julius Randle, right? But again, you got other guys. RJ Barrett's a playmaker. He's only passing 7% of the time. What is the issue? Why can we not get Kevin Knox going? Now, you have a point guard on the floor, and I know Austin really been here for 2 games, and he's coming off the bench, whatever. But it just seems like he is not he's not even like a secondary part of the offense sometimes when he comes in. It just seems like he's like an ancillary part. Like if it gets him.
Yeah. I think as far as this team is concerned, right, over the first 7 games, with so many injuries, I think, and this is I'm not trying to make an excuse for him, because he should be able to just put himself out there and start to make the plays, bring that bounce, bring that energy so that he's into the game. Even if he's got to go fight for rebounds. When my daughter first started playing, the first day she stepped on the court, she could do nothing. I mean, when I say nothing, she could do nothing. She had no idea what to do. And I said, just put yourself into play. It doesn't matter. Just get in there and start Just try to get rebounds, try to fight for the ball, do those things. Everything else will fall into place if you just do those things. And sometimes he doesn't do those things, right? Even if he's not scoring the ball, he's not getting touches, just put yourself in the play. Try to battle for some rebounds, get some offensive rebounds. But I do believe that, what we seen during the end of preseason was him come in and he playing with that young lineup. I always said this about Kevin Knox. He has confidence issues, I believe, and he plays better when he plays with younger people on the floor, right? I think he feels more confident to take the shot or to take the ball or to, I don't want to say take charge, but doesn't feel like he's, doesn't. I haven't seen anybody get mad at him, but, maybe he feels like someone's going to get mad at him if he doesn't do this or doesn't do that. Right. So I feel like he plays more confident when he plays with the younger guys on the floor. The start of the season with so many injuries, he's kind of been thrust into him having to play with, with Elfrid Payton and Julius Randle out there on the floor. RJ Barrett, even though RJ Barrett's a young guy too, he's been thrust into playing with that group, and I don't think it's helped him. I think once when things get back now, the way that things are now, let me see. Once he gets back, when players start to come back, that second lineup is going to be Austin Rivers, Immanuel Quickley, Kevin Knox, Obi Toppin, Burks, and Noel. I don't know. Maybe I just said 6 players. I don't know how many players I just said, but that's kind of going to be that second lineup. And I think he'll play better. Although you do have Burks and you do have Austin Rivers, who are a little older, I think he'll play better in that lineup. So I still think it's a confidence issue. Just, I don't think he's not confident in himself as a player. I think he's not confident around older people, and he's, still a immature guy, and he's got, he's got to find a way to come out of it, and hopefully Thibodeau will be able to bring that out of it. I mean, Thibodeau obviously feels something about the kid and sees something. He's paying him 20 so far. He's playing him 22 minutes a night now with so many injuries. He almost doesn't have a choice, because the other night he played 6 guys in the first half for the most part. Quickley and Knox barely played in the first half. They both played like 18 minutes throughout the game, so they both got about 13 minutes in the second half. So, now if he does it, we've seen it already with Tom Thibodeau. It doesn't matter who it is. Elfrid Payton, he was playing well the other night, but Immanuel Quickley came in the second half and was playing better. Right? It was more conducive to the offense, so Elfrid Payton didn't play down the stretch. Right? Even though Elfrid Payton was playing okay, I thought he was taking too many shots, but he was playing okay. So, Tibbs has shown that he's not going to play any favorites. He's just going to put the guys out there that he wants to win the game. Knox ain't doing it, then, he's gonna slide out and slide down. Especially when Obi gets back. Now, there's other questions about Obi because we haven't seen a lot of them yet, but, so we'll see. I just think that, he's got to get that confidence, and learn how to bring that energy every night. Learn how to bring that what he brought to Tampa, learn how to bring that every night. Learn how to motivate yourself to come with it every night. I think that's just the biggest thing, really.
So the thing that you just said, right? You said that playing with the older guys, right? If you look at his numbers, his highest field goal percentage on the floor is actually with Julius Randle at 38.5%, right? Highest given the number of attempts. So his highest is 1.9 attempts with Julius Randle, 38.5%. Quickly's only getting it to him very low, almost non-existent. 0.1 attempts a game he's getting. His field goal percentage right now is 0. Now, I think he got that pass yesterday from Quickley in the corner when he came in. But, the whole idea that, he has to play the young guys. I'm not necessarily sure if it's founded, because even then his next highest percentages with Austin Rivers at 44.4%, 1.3 attempts a game. Right? So, go ahead.
But I'm not talking about the shot attempts. I'm talking about just the confidence level in the way that he plays, because he can get shot attempts. Julius Randle looks for him all the time. Right. He's always trying to find him. I don't know if it's, him just trying to help him get into the game or what, but he's always looking for him. I'm just talking about him I'm sure you felt it as a player, as a younger player, right? You know, you're out there and you got people your age. You have a different approach to the game than when you play with a bunch of people that's, you know, when you were 15, 16 years old, you know, and you played with certain people, you were like, okay, you know, you might be a little more reserved. But then when you got out there with a group of guys that was 22, 23, you were kind of like a little bit more chill because, you know, I just feel like it's something like that with him. You know, because I just noticed the different bounce in the step when he's playing with those younger guys.
Right.
You know, so
I want Kevin Knox to succeed, man, but these younger guys, man, you got guys like RJ Barrett, who, again, you look at his numbers, he's starting to pop as a young guy. I understand, so his 3-point shooting leaves a lot to be desired. He needs to control that, where he's not shooting 9 or 8 like he did 2 games ago. Or whatever the hell it was in that loss. I think it was Toronto, was it? Where him and both.
Toronto, yeah.
But again, I'm just watching him. He's just fast evolving, right? I mean, and that's another question to get to, right? RJ Barrett, can he be a viable secondary playmaker for this team, right? The guy's playing heavy minutes right now. Sorry about this. My computer's acting stupid. I had a article up, or a Word article I want to show, or Word document, excuse me, I want to read from RJ Barrett. But RJ Barrett is literally he had 26 points last night, 10 for 19 from the field, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line, 5 for 7 from the free throw line, which is much improved from his 61.5% last year. 11 rebounds, 5 assists for Josh, who said that he should be sitting. This guy Josh said that RJ Barrett should be sitting, despite the fact that he's a better playmaker on the floor with Julius Randle than Elfrid Payton is. Julius Randle has a 54.2% field goal percentage at 3.4 attempts with RJ Barrett, versus Elfrid Payton, who only has 46.2% at 1.9 attempts. And Elfrid Payton goes to Julius Randle all the time. So, Josh, just sit down, Josh. But suit to Josh, I no hate, but I got to school Josh. But can RJ Barrett be a reliable playmaker? Because Julius Randle's playing a lot of minutes. Our offense basically goes to Julius Randle. He had, 9 of the 26 assists we had yesterday. You kind of see him huffing and puffing out there. Whether it be the triangle, whether it be a pinch post, whether it be that wing action where they do that little the 3 guys on one wing, they swing around, drive, and swing around to the other wing. Julius Randle's involved on almost every play.
Almost.
We need another playmaker. I know people talking about Burks, but again, Burks is 29. In NBA years, in my opinion, 29 is like you're almost in your early 30s, maybe mid-30s, just because of all the wear and tear. Their 29 is not our 29. And people are saying Burks and Obi's a rookie. When you look at this team, I know Rivers could come in for a few shots or for like 27 minutes. He's been fairly solid, but we don't really have another playmaker on the court. Can RJ Barrett be that playmaker soon?
I hope so. I think that he can right now because he plays with Julius Randle so much. And they have to play, right? They have to play because he plays with him so much. And Julius Randle is kind of the focal point as far as playmaking. He doesn't have to. But I think that if they start to use him more as a playmaker, it can only help the team, right? Because you're right. I mean, just about every play has Julius Randle involved, whether he's making the pass, he's shooting the ball, or he's setting the screen. Like every single play. And, sometimes I'm watching them like, yo, we've got to do something else because this is the first 7 games. After about 20 games, teams know what you want to do. What do we do next? Right. So I think that RJ really does need to develop as that next playmaker and figure out, Tom Thibodeau did a good job figuring out what are the best ways for Julius Randle to make plays for the team. And I think he'll figure out what are the best ways for RJ Barrett to make plays for the team, to get everybody else involved as well. I think Tom Thibodeau talked about it before the season even started, that he thinks RJ Barrett and wants RJ Barrett to be an overall all-around player, right? And the numbers that he put up last night, proved that he can do it. He can be an all-around player. So I think he can develop to be that. He's just got to keep on playing, the whole team is kind of taking on the mantra of, just making the right play, right? Keep on doing that, making the right play, and looking to get people involved when he can. You know, you don't want him to force trying to do it, because then you start getting into, people not sure what you're doing and people making mistakes and this and that. But I think it'll come naturally. But I think the Knicks, if they're going to continue to win, ball games as you get deeper in the season and teams know what you do, they got a lot on tape. He's going to have to develop as another playmaker on the team, I think. Yeah.
When you watch this team, so it's like, Bullock is killing us. I feel like if we had legit knockdown 3-point shooter, I think RJ Barrett, obviously Julius Randle will look a lot better, but it'd take a lot more pressure off the team. Because I've seen RJ Barrett, he likes to slash to the middle and kick it out to the corner or the wing. And Julius Randle, it seems like that's a staple from Tom Thibodeau. He's really preaching that, right? Whenever they attack from the wing, they can maybe get the pick. They have somebody sliding with them, and then you see a lot of action on the other wing where maybe a guy slides to the corner. I seen Burke do it. Burke did an excellent job of it when Julius Randle was driving in the first game. But with RJ Barrett, and I know people try to say, "Oh, I'm an RJ Barrett a favoritist," or all that stuff. It's like, I just see that this kid, take away some of the bad shooting nights, right? If he was driving to the basketball, his mid range looks a lot more improved versus last year. If you just look at his game, this guy is looking to get teammates involved. And I know sometimes he's standing on the corner asking for the ball. He did it at the end of the third. No, the end of the I think it was the end of the half last game against the Hawks. But that play, Payton is either drive or kick out, and people are like, oh, well, it's like, well, yeah, he's way in the corner to get a shot. You're going to see that from time to time. But again, I think he's budding into that type of play now. Will he be Jimmy Butler level type of guy? I don't know. I don't think so. But as a secondary playmaker, I would like to see them operate a little bit away from Julius Randle, just conserving. Julius Randle's out there huffing and puffing. And this is not me issuing whatsoever. The guy's playing like he's being asked to play. He's cleaning up on the boards, but then on the flip side, especially on the pick and roll defense, you see him very kind of tired just because he can't expend so much on both ends of the floor. And they'll time just say, but they play him at the 5 where you didn't see Mitch Robinson, so you didn't have a rim protector. He was the only so-called big man out there trying to defend against guys like John Collins and whatnot. So that's another question. Let's talk about Julius Randle's attrition. Do you think that there's going to be an issue like him and RJ ranked in the top 3?
Top 3. RJ was number 1 and Julius Randle was number 3, I think.
Yeah, and then Harden was number 2
per game. Right. Yeah, Harden was number 2. Now,
again, one of the concerns I have with Tom Thibodeau starting the season was just that, right? He can work place of only, and granted, young players, I don't have a problem with them playing major minutes, but given this Knicks team right now, given the fact that we're winning with this formula, is like I don't think they're going to tinker with it. Now, obviously, Burks gets back. That's going to help guys like RJ Barrett.
And Obi gets back. It should help. It should help.
Right.
It should help Randle.
It should also help Randle, right? Because you have an option just to kick it out, so you don't have to sit there in the post 24/7. And I don't have any. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that basically it's how we live. If you're not running horns or triangle or some type of set that kind of gets away from that low post. But do you think that there might be an issue now? You've seen past games. You saw him get hurt in that Toronto game where he was cramping up, and you of all people will probably know what can happen with cramps, overexertion, where players are just playing. They don't get rest. They're the focal point, and they get that one injury because their body just can't take it. No matter how much their heart or soul or whatever can take it, their body just can't stay up. So, do you have an issue with the possible Fishman?
I don't have an issue with the minutes. I think that once Obi gets back, you'll see Julius Randle's minutes come down. Julius Randle played 44 minutes last night. RJ played about 44 minutes last night. 43 minutes.
44, Randle played 43. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I definitely think that when Obi gets back, Randle's minutes can come down to 37, 38, and not 44. Maybe even a little less than that if Obi's playing very well on that night. And I definitely think Burks is going to, help to relieve RJ. I think that now, of course, you do worry a little bit. You worry about injury. Like the body just breaking down because it can only take so much. I don't even think a human body is meant to play the type of sports that we see these professional athletes play. No. I don't think everybody's even meant to do that. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they can do it is amazing all by itself. You know, so, you know, a little bit I do worry if they're getting 44 minutes a night. If they're getting 44 minutes every night, that'll kill them. That'll burn them out really easy, really quick. I do think that they're going to, you know, as those other guys get back, you're going to be able to play those other guys and give RJ and Randall a break. Because, you know, when you look at last night, not only did RJ and Randall play 43 and 44 minutes, but they're on a road trip. So they've been traveling from city to city, right? Because they were on a 4-game road trip. And I mean, only 6 guys played really in the first half. And I mean, and then, you know, you're asking Randall to go from playing the 4 to playing the center. Granted, you know, those guys weren't really big in Atlanta. You know, that was a good thing, because if he was playing like Indiana or Philadelphia, he really would have been worn down. But I think once those guys come back, you can see them get a break a little bit. Hopefully Obi can come back and is able to, you know, really contribute. But what does scare me is that those 2 guys become so much part of the reason that they're winning, that then the team doesn't know how to operate without them on the floor. You know what I'm saying? That does scare me a little bit. Because if you're getting 44 minutes, you're basically playing the entire game, right? And so now all of a sudden, one of these 2 guys ain't on the floor. How do we operate? Who do we go to? You know, how do we make the team flow? You know, that's one thing that does worry me.
I get really concerned. Well, one thing, so Obi's a tricky one, and Coach Carlo Blocks brought this up, where he thinks that Obi will be used as a 3, right? Now, it sounds crazy, but if you looked at how Obi was being used when he first got here, they played him a lot on the perimeter. They played pick and pop with him, pick and roll with him and Randall, because I think that they're going to pick up his option, Randall's option, and they're thinking like, hey, Randall's going to be here. We got to try to find a way to make these 2 guys work. Now, it's going to be tough to have Randall at the 5 and then Obi at the 4, because your front court is not going to have any defense. And Tom Thibodeau does not play with pace. So he's going to want to control the game. I don't see them running. Randall's more of a half-court player. Obi, coming from college so far, is more of a fast-court transition type of guy. So the best position would be to probably have him at the 3. Now, defensively, pray for him, right? But offensively, if you can play that pick and pop, because there's no way that you have him shoot 11 threes in a game if you're not trying to play him a little bit more at the 3, right? And play him off of Randall, which could be a dynamic duo. Just, you know, they just have to try to find a way to make it work. You know, how do you feel about them trying to develop Obi at the 3? Is it viable? Now, the guy shot 38% from 3, only for 2.6 attempts, and most of those were in the corner, right? And his shot is really, it's like a rainbow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And other than that, he's not really refined yet, man. So people say
that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say. I don't see the footwork. I don't see the refined offense for him to play at that 3 spot. I can only see him playing at the 4 spot. You know, him shooting the 3s to me is what a stretch 4 does. I really can only see him right now. You know, later on in his career, we'll see how he develops. He is going to be 23 in March, though. So, you know, he's, you know, a few more years, he's kind of reaching that, you know, his head is almost brushing the top of the ceiling, you know, in a couple of years. He's going to be 23 years old in March. So, you know, hopefully his development. I know when I spoke with the guy from Dayton, you know, he said he wasn't worried about Obi Toppin developing, because what he's seen from the time that Obi got there till his sophomore season, he said the development that he's seen in him was just, you know, instrumental, you know. So maybe he's just at that point where he's still a sponge and picking up a lot of things. I don't see right now that he can really play the 3 and be productive at that spot on most nights. You know, I just don't think that he has the refined skill to beat threes off the dribble. He might be able to overpower them down low, but he's not like he has this super post game, so I just don't see it. And defensively, I think he'll get beat by most threes in the league. So I just don't see him. I can't see him really developing. Well, I mean, this year I don't see him. Now, what happens going on in the future and how they work with him and develop him, maybe he can develop that. But he's got to refine his game some. He's got to work on his footwork. He's not elusive at all. He's just straight up like, I'm gonna power my way through. He doesn't really have moves. He's not gonna shake and bait. He's not gonna boom, 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 put the ball between his legs and do any of that. He's not doing any of that. So I don't know. I don't know about that whole three thing, which could cause a serious dilemma if Julius Randle plays like this season, and they pick up his option, and then he gets the turnovers under control, and he plays better. Then what do you do? Then where do you go? You know what I'm saying? People can say, well, it's not a problem for Obi to play under Julius Randle for a couple of years. Yeah, it's not a problem if you know that you're going to move on from Julius Randle. But it does become a problem if Julius Randle continues to ascend and you're like, we got to keep this guy. Then it does become kind of a problem.
Agreed.
So...
Someone's trying to call in. If you're trying to call in, try calling. I heard you for like 2 seconds and your phone went out. So whoever's trying to call. And Pedro Mato said to take a question. Guys, if we have questions, I'll ask them. So please ask away if you got any questions. Someone said, and Sim, you've worked with a lot of young kids. They said that 23 is young. Now, just from my perspective, I don't have nearly as much experience as Sim. But what I've seen in the NBA is that when you draft some of these older guys, it's very hard to mold them. Especially when they've been uber dominant at whatever smaller colleges. Sometimes their games, they just can't change. I'm not necessarily saying they will never change, but it's harder to mold a 21-year-old where they're more of a finished product coming out of college, right? Obi Toppin, dominant at Dayton, and he's probably going to be asked to do a little bit more. Like he shot 11 threes in a game. They probably want to play more as a stretch four versus a guy's going to roll the rim, playing the baseline like he's – basically play what Julius Randle's been playing, right? Because they probably want to try to see if those guys can play together. At 23, there's a lot of things. Again, his hips, very high hips, very tight. So lateral movement is not that great. Not like you could change it when you're younger, but it's just, you kind of get more of a finished product with him. So if you, sorry, hold up. Dunbar Anthony. Yeah. Or Anthony Dunbar.
Anthony Dunbar.
Yo, Anthony, what's good, man?
G-Mo.
What's good, bro?
I'm here. My brother Sim. What's good, baby?
What's good? What's good with you, man? How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. Good to see you. It's good to see you on camera, man. Doing your thing, man.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Doing what you normally do, what you should be doing eventually. So that's what it is. G-Mo.
Oh, Lord.
I have a, you know when I say that.
I know you have a problem. I know you have a problem. What is it now, man? What I do now, man?
I wanna go back to last night.
Okay.
When and some of your, I wanna ask you guys. You guys not happy?
Wait,
when the Knicks are winning?
Yeah.
Wait, hold up. Did you see me scream on my stream on the watch along, bro? Did you see me throw down my notebook? Did you see me?
What I caught was the guys are playing too many minutes, and what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do?
Oh, this is a question.
Knickerbocker's been 4-3.
Guy, Don Anthony, I was on for 4 hours. If anybody, that was at the end of the show when we were just talking about topics. If you saw me during the game, I was screaming. When Kevin Knox made that three to end the third quarter, I threw down my notebook. I was screaming like, yo, that's what I want to see, Kevin. I'm screaming at Kevin Knox as if I'm his coach. I am happy that we're 4-3. But because you're 4-3, first of all, that doesn't mean you're in the playoffs, right? So let's all chill out. But again, when you're playing a guy at 43, 44 minutes, you're teetering on attrition unless you can diversify your offense away. It's just natural. Guys don't play unless you got some guys who are just athletic freaks, some guys who are battle tested like that. Julius Randle is playing largely in a different role than he did last year, right? He's not just being asked to just Brahma Bull. Even that, I mean, he's still kind of track slowly back and forth. But in this team, they're not even playing high pace, so they're waiting for him to get back into his spots. He is tired. You saw him yet? He is tired, right? He wants to play. Salute to him. But you're gonna sit here and tell me that when you look at Julius Randle, he's looking fresh every game. We go to him probably 80% of our possessions in half court. You're gonna sit and tell me that Julius Randle, that we need to find a way to get another playmaker involved besides him and RJ Barrett, if you could be consistent.
Here's the thing. Talk about Julius Randle. I don't even have to see his face. I know he's lighting up like a Christmas tree since 1948. The way the man is so happy about Julius Randle playing well, and I gotta give Julius his props.
True, Sim is lighting up. Yes,
give him his props because you was one of the guys that would call in and was throwing hate at him.
To play triple overtime, I could care less. It's about getting the win.
And what does Sim say? What does Sim say until tomorrow? No, and what does Sim say until he's hurt? Then that's when.
Yes.
No, that's how you shouldn't use a guy up until he's hurt. You try to conserve him. And I'm not saying you lose.
Do you know the coach that you have that's coaching this team?
Yes, and he has an issue with that. He has an issue with running guys into the ground. It is not good.
Hey, Anthony, you do know last night the Knicks literally played 6 players in the first half because Kevin Knox played 4 minutes. Immanuel Quickley played 3 minutes. They literally played 6 players.
Nobody's playing today. You get your rest today. I'm fine with that.
But here's the thing, because there was one point that I didn't get to about that Atlanta game. Not only were they traveling, not only did they play 6 players, but they were playing at a higher tempo than they normally play. Right in the last game of a 4-game road trip, and that's largely because that's the way that Atlanta plays. And I know that they're young guys, but. I'm not worried about the minutes. I want them to play because I want them to play. I don't want them to, I want them to play. But when Obi gets back and when Burks gets back, he's got to be able to use those guys to give RJ and Randle a little bit more of a break.
I think we have to give the coach the leeway and that he knows he's going to need to do what he needs to do as far as with the extra guys. But last night, he was in the trenches, and he saw that was more than winnable, and a team that didn't have a Rondo, that didn't have some of their experienced guys to help them solidify. Remember, the Knicks were down 15 in the third quarter. Okay, 15 in the third quarter. That spells a young team on the other side of the ball that doesn't know how to close it out. Not that you close it out necessarily because you up 15 in the third quarter, but an experienced team more than likely is going to close that out. He saw that. He pushed the pedal to the metal. Notice Peyton didn't come back in the game because why? Quickly had it. Quickly had it. You see what I'm saying? He's going to coach to what he needs to do with that particular game is going to worry about tomorrow. We have a team right now. I'm the first one that's going to apologize to Julius Randle. Not because I'm the one who wanted him in the first place, but because that he's shown that he can do some other things and he can take tutelage and play better. Not because he's playing better means I'm all of a sudden going to be like, well, Julius, we're only going to play you 34 minutes tonight. No, that game last night was important. We needed that game.
I agree. And he did the right thing by playing him. But I'm just saying, when those guys come back, you can find times throughout the game, strategic moments throughout the game where you say, okay, I can let this guy, I can take him out a little early. Right now, from the beginning of the season to now, you've seen the difference where, Randle would maybe come out with 5 minutes in the first quarter. Now he's not coming out until a minute left in the first quarter, right? And he sits, throughout, sits that minute, sits a little bit over the break, and then he's coming back in with 8 minutes or something like that because Obi's not there. But when Obi gets there, he may, it may go back to him coming out, with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and you let Obi play until 8 minutes, so he gets a little bit more of that breather, because sooner or later, and I'm not saying I don't want him to play the guys. They're young guys. They should be able to take it. Julius, it seems clear to me that Tom Thibodeau he's had a discussion with him and RJ, I think, because I watched Julius Randle's post game last night. And he said, someone asked him about playing 44 minutes. And, he was like, I guess I'm enjoying it. But the biggest thing is I got to make sure I'm doing the right things to take care of my body so that I can handle it, this and that. It sounds to me like Tom Thibodeau spoke to him and RJ and whoever else and said, you guys are going to be getting mad minutes. This is what you need to do to take care of your body. But at some point, though, you got to understand that the body can only take so much. I know we were supposed to get our superpowers on the 21st of December, but that was fake.
I just want to say one thing. G-Mo, you need to stop placating that Chuck. Chuck doesn't know what the hell he's talking about when it comes to Quickley.
Whoa. Do you think hold on, Anthony.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Anthony, when have I
talking about Quickley?
When do I placate? All I do is allow Chuck to talk. I've killed Chuck already. When you're like Genghis Khan, right? You know what Genghis Khan did? He didn't fully destroy the kingdoms he warred with. He took them under him, right? He made them serve. Chuck is under my kingdom. I destroy. He doesn't. Chuck can never say he can't say anything to me. So what you do is you take a person like that. He's a bulldog. I give it to Chuck. He's a bulldog, right? But I destroyed him, right? I had that under my belt. So I let him talk. It's okay. He can't war me again, man. But yo, Anthony.
I hear what it is. Peace, family.
Peace,
Nick's family.
Yeah, peace, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, hey,
I wanted to get back to that one thing that you were asking about, that you were talking about with
Dr. Dre suffered a brain aneurysm.
What?
Crap.
Seriously? Is he in the hospital?
He says he's in ICU, man. Please.
Dang. Don't start off the year like that. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Don't come on. So praise up for Dr. Dre. Hopefully he recovers, man. One of the greatest producers of any genre. Anybody saying, man. Praise up for Dr. Dre, man. Suit to Dr. Dre. What the hell, man? Oh, I hate this crap.
Man.
This is weird, man. One of my favorite producers too, man.
That's bad. Dang.
But yeah, praise up for him, man. But sorry, what do you want to get to, Sam?
Yeah, what up? When we were talking about players development, right? And at what age, you start to hit that spot where you can no longer, where you're not really going to get better, right? I think one of the things that one of the issues. I don't want to say issues with being 22 or 23 because that is young. But when you're talking about developing skills, it all has to do with habits. And the longer you go with certain habits, the harder it is to break those habits and then retrain your body to pick up new habits.
Right.
So when you start talking about basketball players, and you're not getting him as an NBA coach, you're not getting this player until they're 22 or 23 years old. They've developed habits from the time they were young to 23 years old. So now you've got to look at what are the bad habits, because every player is going to have some bad habits. What are the bad habits? How do I break down those bad habits and build it up into new habits? And it becomes tougher and tougher and tougher to do, because they're older and their body, it becomes just tougher to retrain the body. Now, some of that too is going to depend on how long those players have been playing basketball. You have some people who've been playing basketball since they were 5 years old, and they developed habits, and you're probably not going to break them of those habits, right? Because they've been doing it since they were 5 years old, and that's going to be what they do. Obi, although he's 22, and going to be 23, he's probably played less basketball than some rookies, some 19-year-old rookies in the NBA right now, right? Or less basketball on a high level because he sat out a year. He was redshirt a year out of high school. He went to he went to a prep school out of high school, which is the reason that he was 22 years old and a sophomore. So he might have played less basketball than even some rookies that's in the NBA. So maybe he still does have a ways to go in developing and growing. But, sooner or later, then there's the whole physical thing that goes on with a person's body. When you're still 18, 19, 20, and even 21 years old, your body is still growing and you can still mold the body to be a certain way. Mm-hmm. After 21 years old, that's kind of you're not really molding the body to be a certain way anymore because it is what it is. And so you have that's what you have to work with. Right. And so that's the reason why when people look at a player that's 22 and they say, well, the body type they have that's kind of the body type they're going to be. When someone is 18, I've seen kids. I had this kid he was 6'8". He was really, really big, didn't really take care of himself. He was round, right? He was a smart basketball player, but he was round. I had to kick him off my team, not because he was round, but because he joked too much, but he didn't take himself seriously, right? He begged me to get back on the team. I was like, no, I'm not putting you back on the team because you can't take it serious. I help you in anything else that you need. I help you, but you're not going to play on this basketball team. He called me up in the middle of the night like, Coach, please. I had a dream that my life wasn't going anywhere and I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. Please put me back on the team. I was like, no, I am not putting you on the team because you play too much, but I'll help you out. Anything you need to do, I'll help you out. I'll be there for you. Mm-hmm. He ended up going to the military, right? I seen him about 2 years later and he came back cut. Mm-hmm. He was no longer round. Right. Mm-hmm. And at this time, I think he was 20 years old. He was no longer round. He looked like a basketball player. And if he would have had this body when he was in high school playing basketball, who knows what he might have been able to do. Right. But, but he was still young enough to train and mold and make his body grow the way he wanted it to be. After a certain age, your metabolism slows down. Right. And the hormones in your body, things change. And so that's the whole thing about getting those players at a younger age, because you're still molding them and training them and training the body to have certain habits, even eating habits and all those things, like training the body to just have those habits. That's what it comes down to, habits. So that's what makes it hard when you say a player is going to be 23 years old. Julius Randle's 26. Obi Toppin is going to be 23. They're 3 years apart.
Can I ask you a question on that? Do you think that Obi Toppin was a Leon Rose pick while Quickley was a Tibbs pick? Because, and we're going to get to Immanuel Quickley. Immanuel Quickley, when you look at his stats, right, and this one, because we covered it, or I covered it one Sunday, but I was like, okay, because there's rumors, right? And all those Knick rumors, congrats to Leon Rose. They threw a lot of rumors out there, a lot of rumors out there that exist. And a lot of people did not sit here. Most people didn't know that we're going to take Quickley, even though there's, they had that article, whatever, but they threw a lot of fills out there to throw people off. When you look at Quickley's numbers, right, can shoot the three, free throw. His foul draw rate, he has moxie. His foul draw rate right now, I believe, is at 76.8%. Bro, that is stupid. That is absurd. Now, obviously, come down is going to moderate, right? But if you look at other players in the league, I think the average, hold on, let me look at the average for Immanuel Quickley real quick. No pun intended. But his average is like 26%. Yeah. The average, so if you look at his shooting, if you guys go to Basketball Reference, I'll post this in the chat for anybody who thinks I'm making this stuff up. If you look at his adjusted shooting, right, he's averaging 78.6% free throw rate, right? So that means free throws to field goal percentage, right? That's crazy. The league average right now is 26%. In college, Quickley had 44, 43%, something like that, some native, or maybe 40. I I forgot, 43, 44, something like that. Harden had 52 or 50-some% last year. This boy Quickley, if you put one hand on him, cookie jar time, he's going to just draw the foul. The kid has moxie. He is a perfect pivotal player. Half court, he can play pace if you want him to. But Obi Toppin, he needs to play in transition. He's more of a full court kind of guy, take the steal, jam it, run a pick and roll. He plays a little bit more pace. And we know Tom Thibodeau does not play with pace. Do you think that, but then he has a CAA connection, right? The Leon Rose, his agent is Leon Rose's son-in-law, some crazy connection like that?
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It's something crazy. Somebody in the chat can correct me. It's something weird like that, but somebody could please correct me. Because when I'm looking at this draft, and look, at first I was for Halliburton, then I wasn't. I think Sim was for Halliburton, if I remember.
I was. What? I mean, I'll be honest. I was always like, if Obi dropped to number 8, take Obi. But I was a big Tyrese Halliburton fan. If it wasn't for if Obi got picked someplace else, I was either looking for Tyrese Halliburton or what's his name over in Cleveland.
Oh, Okoro, Isaac Okoro.
Okoro, yeah, Isaac Okoro.
So do you think that there's something weird? Like, do you see like when you see these two guys play, Quickley just fits into the team way too perfectly compared to Obi. And that's not saying Obi can't get better. I'm not admonishing the kid. Hopefully he's a freaking superstar, all-star with the team. But do you kind of feel that? That is like a weird fit?
I mean, I do feel like there's a weird fit with Obi. And, people at a few shows back, I said to people, I'm not concerned about Obi right now, but I'm watching at least. I'm watching because, there's just some things that I see. And I do feel like there's a little bit of a weird fit in, where he's going to get the ball. I'm like, why is he launching so many threes? Why are you not using this guy in the screen and roll? Because that's where he excelled. He gets up off the floor so fast and so high. Why are you not using that? Mm-hmm. But that's not where Tom Thibodeau uses his big men. I mean, with Mitch, he uses Mitch that way, but not as much as they were doing it last year, right? You even seeing Mitch doing a lot of handoffs and setting screens that way. Obi's game, while Obi can pass the ball, his game is a screen and roll guy. He's a screen and roll guy. Get me the ball. He can. You can do a screen and pick and pop with him. He can knock down mid range jump shot, screen and roll. He can dunk it at the basket. You can catch him in the dunker's corner. Over in a little short corner area, dip it off to him so he can dunk it. But I don't know if his game is playing from that high post area, in a horn set. I don't know if that's what he really does. So yeah, I think that is a challenge that the Knicks probably have right now, and does ask you some questions like, what's Obi the fan choice type of pick to get the fans excited. So hopefully he Thibodeau can work with him and he turns out to be what Thibodeau wants him to be. We won't see until he comes back.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I'm scared. I've seen your boy Brandon Boston wearing a freaking Knicks hat. Or heard about him wearing a Knicks hat, and I'm like, oh.
Who?
I'm not saying Boston's not good. He needs a lot of work at Kentucky, and he's a Kentucky and a CAA player, which is like, that is a match made in heaven. And if you have a guy like Jalen Green or Kuminga up there, you get that pick. If they pick Brandon Boston, I will be pissed because he needs a lot of development, and I think they're better prospects in the game. But let's talk about your boy Quickley, man. Quickley has looked good. In the Spurs times he's coming in. Yesterday, obviously, he didn't come until he played. I think he played most of the fourth. I got to look back. But it seemed as if Tom Thibodeau wanted him to be a closer, right? Because people complain. I was complaining too that they didn't bring him. Remember when Atlanta was making that run from like the end of the first half to like the third quarter where they're up by 12 or 13, whatever it was. And I was like EP was just making some dumb mistakes, just turnovers, and the Knicks couldn't really get buckets. I was like, why don't they just put IQ in? And you see at the end, IQ was he was one of the main guys on offense. Like, he's hitting a big shot, that big three, the foul draw. I mean, the guy did that nice move on Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is just mercurial, man. He's immature. But he did that. He did the Andre Miller It wasn't exactly Andre. So anybody remember the play where Andre Miller was about to call a timeout, faked it, and just drove to the basket?
Oh, right.
He didn't do that because they weren't going to call a timeout, but he acted as if he was going to give the handoff to, I don't remember
whoever it was, and then he went in the basket and dunked it.
Yep. It's just, when you look at him, is moxie. Old Jewish New Yorkers know what I mean when I say the kid has moxie. And you just watch him, he just plays like a veteran. He plays smart. He knows if he can't beat you, if you put your hands anywhere near him, he will overreact to that foul. He's been doing it since college. They ran one play where I think the 1-3 hit from the wing was a play I was talking about with the wing where the ball handler, one person sets a screen for the guy in the corner. I think it was Kevin Knox who came around, dribbled it, tried to cut into the middle, so the defense collapsed on him, kicked it out to Quickley hit the shot, and that's a staple that Tom Thibodeau likes. He did it against the Patriots. He does it almost every game. We don't have reliable 3-point shooters. Quickly comes in, he does it like clockwork, right? How do you see in the next few games? Like we got the Jazz coming up, we got Brooklyn Nets coming up soon. And EP is hit or miss, right? If he's not slash to the basket making shots, he's kind of, you could say sometimes an offensive liability. How do you see IQ's role growing on this team? Because he just adds a different element. Again, that starting lineup could use shooting. Like we just talked about. A lot of pressure off. It could.
I think that with Quickley, I think you maximize the production with him coming off the bench. Right. With Elfrid Payton, I mean, he's come off the bench before and he could probably come in and play. But when you finally get the full team back, I would rather have Quickley playing with that second unit than Elfrid Payton, I think. Right. So I think you maximize his production with him coming off the bench, probably, at least for this season, probably. And you'll see how it goes, later on. And I think it gives you that change of pace with him coming off the bench too. Right. I would rather a change of pace be a more upbeat change of pace than a slowed down change of pace. Right. If you bring Elfrid Payton off the bench, Elfrid Payton is going to be playing. That people can say don't play him or whatever. He's going to be playing. He's actually having a pretty, I didn't like the fact that he was shooting so much. I don't know why he was shooting so much last game. I mean, he actually at one point was leading the team in shot attempts. I think at like 18 or 19, and I was like, why is he shooting so much? But I think he plays a slower pace, which fits the first unit. You would like to see, that unit play a little bit faster, but I think Elfrid Payton going to the second unit probably slows the second unit down a little bit more. And the ball doesn't, when you get that second unit back and the ball doesn't pop and move around more, where putting Quickley in the first unit, I don't know that it speeds it up to the point where, it's going to make it this high powered type of offense or anything like that. So I think his abilities are best maximized coming off the bench, being able to have a change of pace, and then sometimes coming in with the starters and giving that change of pace. Are they looking at him as the starting point guard, going forward into next season and so on? I guess we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I think right now, if the Knicks continue to win, it's a perfect storm for Immanuel Quickley, right? To get his feet wet in the NBA for a season and then be able to come next year and fully just clean the spot. Now, if this year it just happens that it's like, we can't keep this kid off the floor, then you do what you got to do. I'm just asking him to not pull his pants up over his belly button.
Come on. Everybody, I don't care. I used to play against dudes like that. Those dudes will shut you down defensively. Old school dudes with the all the way up to the freaking navel, like the freaking chest. It's like, what's wrong with this dude, man? But they'll be up on you like,
right.
Something's not right with this guy, man. Just pass the ball.
He looks like when you coach AAU and you got little kids out there and they got these big shorts on, like they bought the uniforms, but they didn't have the shorts to fit this one kid. You know what I'm saying? So he's got to pull it way up. Maybe he's got to turn the top over a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It looks like that.
We are trash, bro. We're 4-3. And I've heard that from you. I've heard that from Chuck B. Like, let this guy go. Come on. And I'm like, come on. Because my brain, if I see something wrong with like how you dress, my brain's like, yo, just keep making jokes in head. I'm like, all right, come on, just let this kid live, man. You know what I mean? But yo, Quickley is playing well. Now, let me ask about this. When Burks gets back, does he play for Bullock?
I hope so. I really do. I hope that he comes in and plays for Bullock, because you talked about, with Quickley there, he would add some shooting to that first unit. Mm-hmm. I feel like Burks would definitely add shooting to that first unit, a third scorer that you need, another scorer that you need, in the way that he can score the basketball. And I know people say, well, you need more scoring off the bench, keep him on the bench. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a crazy fan of Reggie Bullock in the way that I'm seeing him play. You know what I mean? So I would like to see Burks in that starting lineup, and then Bullock's kind of fall out. Because since now you got Austin Rivers that could be in that second lineup with Immanuel Quickley, because they seem to play well together, and then you have Obi, Knox, and I guess Noel in the second unit.
You know what you want to say, Sim. I know what you want to say next. Come on, just say it. You know what you want to say, Sim. You hoping your boy Bullocks falls out, and then Frank gets healthy, and Frank kind of takes that.
Nah, I think I just named the second five that I think is going to be out there. It's going to be Quickley, Rivers. It's going to be Knox, Obi, and Nerlens Noel. That's that second five. And Tibbs is only going 10 deep. I don't think Frank is going to get that spot.
I will say this. Bullock is always a crap out of me, right? But according to Synergy, Bullock has the best pick and roll defense on the ball handler than anybody else in the Knicks. He is. I'll just say this. I know people are gonna kill me, so let me say this: out of all the guys who guard against the pick and roll in the Knicks, so the guys who do it the most, right? You got Elfrid Payton, RJ Barrett, Austin Rivers. Elfrid Payton's given up 48.4% from the field. RJ Barrett 47.1%. Austin Rivers 58.3%. Reggie Bullock has only given up 22.2% field goal percentage when he's playing against a pick and roll ball handler. And you saw yesterday how your boy Trae Young was destroying us with that pick and roll. Was using even staggered double pick and rolls. I think that's why Tom Thibodeau likes him. And he's like, all right, look, if this guy just give me at least one day, just give me a few threes. We need his defense on the floor. I don't think Burks gives you that because, again, the Knicks right now defensively were one of the better teams in the league, especially on the three, right? The Knicks right now defending the three, field goal percentage allowed, we're number 4 in the league. Number 1 in three-point percentage, which I still think is a little lucky. We let up a lot of open shots, but hey, teams are missing them. I take it. And we're number 5 in points allowed. Reggie Bullock is probably a big piece of that, especially because teams are running pick and rolls on us 24/7. So we got to just take the point.
I mean, no, it's no lie. Look, I mean, when you do on-off numbers, however much people take that into account. Offensively, when he's on the court, the Knicks have a 99.3 offensive rating. The offensive rating is 99.3. When he's off the court, the offensive rating is 116.3. Okay, but defensively, when he's on the court, the opponent's offensive rating is 106.4. No, I'm sorry. When he's on the court, the opponent's offensive rating is 106.4. When he's on the court, the opponent's offensive rating is 109. Right. So he's helping defensively, obviously. Yeah. He's adding to the team defensively. So I don't know. I mean, the one thing about this team, somebody has to fall out because Tibbs is only going to go 10 deep. Somebody has to fall out. Right. The one thing about this team, though, that we can guarantee from night to night is that they're going to play hard. I think we can guarantee that from what we've seen. They're going to play hard. Every game, they're not going to blow out a lot of teams. Every game is going to come down to, it's going to be a stressful game. Right. You're going to be pulling your hair out. You're going to be punching walls. You're going to be doing all kinds of things. And Reggie Bullock is going to be a part of that with some of the stuff that he does offensively. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be part of that.
That turnover, yes,
he does fit into the mold of what this team does and how they play. So I don't know. I don't know what you do. You know, because if not him, who else? Who falls out of that top 10 when everybody gets back? Who falls out of that top 10? That's.
Can you? Did Austin Rivers have a terrible injury last year? Do you have any injuries, major injuries last year?
I don't know.
Because I honestly, God, don't mind playing Austin Rivers at the 1, man. I'm good with EP. I'm good. Oh, by the way, and first and foremost, guys, salute to everybody here: Kendall Middleton, Ariel Hernandez, everybody, Glenn Greasy, Triborough, Casey Smoke. Sim again is in YouTube jail, so please, guys, subscribe to Nothing But KNICKS on Facebook. As a
matter of fact, one of the better ways that they can get in touch with me to know that if I'm on live or not is to get that app. And I actually just put it in the StreamYard chat. You know, if you wanted to, if you could put it in the YouTube chat, that'd be great. But get that app and I can send notifications to people on the app, and there's groups and forums on there. You know, we got people in there talking and posting pictures and doing all kinds of stuff. So you can definitely join that, and it lets you know whenever I'm live. So.
And all you guys are talking about rap and hip hop. If you're not subscribed to the Front Stoop, you guys are talking about Big L and this guy. Subscribe to the Front Stoop, which I just posted, so you guys can be talking that trash for Sim. And obviously, Sim's favorite rapper is Nas. His second favorite rapper is Nas, and his third favorite rapper is Nas.
There's no doubt about that.
It's probably Nas again. But guys, please subscribe to the Front Stoop, as well as to the Wix app that I just put on. And last question before you got it. What the hell? They said, all right, Glenn Green. I'm not going to read that out. You guys are bugging. Anyway, he said, how did you get those nice teeth? What? He's always had those teeth. What are you?
I don't know, bro. I don't know what they're talking about. I got
this is the second time y'all say somebody. Y'all said Josh's teeth. Yo, Josh got nice teeth. It's like, all right, guys, I don't know what's going in your heads, man. Please, not even make it about showing out teeth, man.
Maybe he's a dentist. I don't know. I got a missing tooth over here, so you know.
Yo, this chat, man. You guys are trash, man. Stop, man. First, you got Sim talking about freaking man. Now I can't get it out of my head. Now every picture I see Immanuel Quickley, and he already looks weird anyway with the dreads. He has like a weird kind of. Now it's in my head. It's like, come on, man. He's probably a good kid.
I mean, they are jacked up. They are jacked up there. I look at him like, why is this guy's short so high?
No, you guys are trash, man. Let's talk about the Utah Jazz right now. They're losing a lot to the Brooklyn Nets. I think almost by 20. 92-71. And that's a Brooklyn Nets team that has been suffering or struggling a little bit. They're 3-4. Jazz are 4-2. The Jazz rank, they're kind of middle of the pack in a lot of things. People say Johnny Bryant left, and that's why Mitch is suffering, or Donovan Mitchell suffering. I don't know about that. They do rank 10th in offensive rating, 12th in defensive rating, 10th in points per game, 7th points allowed, but defensive rebounds 27, steals 29, blocks 27, 3 points allowed 25. If only you can shoot threes. They have a lot of and in offensive rankings, field goals made and attempted. They seem to be very meticulous because they're third in turnovers, but they're 28th and 29th in field goals made and attempted. 3-pointers, okay, whatever. 18, ranked 18th, pace 19th. So it seems like they're a set 'em up type of team. Again, they got Bojan Bogdanovic back. He was out last year. Remember, he had that really good year with the Indiana Pacers where they almost beat the Cavaliers in 7 games. They got Donovan Mitchell, who's doing okay, struggling a little bit from the 3. He's averaging 20.2 points a game. Mike Conley at 20.3. Jordan Clarkson's killing it from the bench, 15.5 points, 39.4% from 3. Rudy Gobert, who every game seems to just against the Knicks. I don't know what he has with us, but he always seems to dominate. Last year, I believe he averaged 17 and 15 or 15 and 17 last year. He makes Mitch look like a small player. And you got guys like Joe Ingles. They re-signed Derek Favors, whereas O'Neal played last year. The bench doesn't seem that crazy. Can you give your overall thoughts on the game? Keys for us to win this game. Me personally, I think it's going to be one of the boards. The Knicks, again, Mitch Robinson and Randall have to find a way to take Gobert out of it. No second chance points, no easy points to the basket. Mm-hmm. And somehow try to contain Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a guy that even when his team is struggling, we've seen him, he can carry his team on his back. It's just a little bit different. It seems he's kind of getting up to somewhat of a slow start, even though I take any slow start at 20.2 points a game. If you just give it keys to the game and give us, your perspective on how we could beat this team.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to our guard play defensively, right? Because you got Mike Conley, who's scoring the ball well this year. Of course, you got Donovan Mitchell. Both guards are like 6'1", right? So our guards are a little taller than them. Elfrid Payton, I think, is 6'3", 6'4". RJ Barrett, 6'6". Right. So, we've got to be ready both of those guys are going to have to be ready to get low and play defense and try to keep them out the paint. I think, don't let their guards. You can't let Donovan Mitchell come. It's not going to be any fans at the Garden, but don't let Donovan Mitchell come in and, come down the lane and get one of those nasty dunks, which might happen. You know what I'm saying? Because with the way, and I guess I've seen this all across the NBA, there's no more a guy gets open in the lane for a dunk. There's no more coming and contesting it. You just kind of step there and watch him jump in the air and dunk it nowadays. Mm-hmm. But, we don't want those guys to come down the lane and start getting those kind of dunks. Teams right now, the Knicks, they're giving up like 50 points in the paint per game, right? We got to find a way to keep those guys out of the paint, make them shoot on the perimeter. Although Utah does shoot like 39.5 3-point attempts per game, and they shoot 38% from three. Right. So we don't want them to get hot. I guess we want to try to force them into shooting mid-range shots. If we can find a way on the offensive side to get Gobert out of the paint so that Julius Randle can, like last night, Julius Randle he wasn't the tallest, but he was the most dominant in the paint because Atlanta, just had some soft guys. But when we play against, what'd you say? He had 17 rebounds, right? But when we play a team like Indiana, where you got big guys like Miles Turner and Sabonis, he can't score as well because Julius Randle doesn't jump high, right? And those guys are big, strong, so he has has a problem scoring. So if we can find a way to use Mitchell Robinson, he's not going to shoot jumpers, but to use Mitchell Robinson setting screens out on the perimeter, kind of forcing Gobert to at least take a couple feet out of the paint, and then find ways to get the ball to cutters going to the basket, not just posting up. Because even if you're just posting up, then that means Mitchell Robinson is standing still somewhere, and Rudy Gobert has time to rotate back into the paint and help defend against Julius Randle if he's scoring. So I think if we can get Mitchell Robinson, even if we're in a horns type of a set, right? And you got Julius Randle at the elbow and you got cutters going to the basket, we hit those guards cutting to the basket. Now Rudy Gobert is out of the paint because Mitchell Robinson is out of the paint. Or if you go a little bit smaller and you have Julius Randle playing the 5, the problem is, can we rebound with him if we go a little bit smaller, and can we defend it? But then, you might have Rudy Gobert playing Julius Randle, and then you have cutters going to the basket, RJ Barrett, those guys cutting to the basket where he can find them cutting to the basket. That may be a way to do it offensively. Defensively, I think we're just going to have to knuckle up and try to find a way to defend those guards. Get one of those guys shooting bad. Get one of those guys shooting bad. Other than those two guys, who else is really scoring for them at a high clip?
Conley, Bojan from perimeter outside of Donovan, because there'll probably be a lot of dribble drop penetrations, pick and rolls, and then kick out Bojan. That's going to be most of the game. I think guys like Jordan Clarkson, he could take guys one-on-one. He's a second unit, but he can go off.
Right.
And the thing about Gobert, as much as I think I don't think he's overrated. That contract is crazy. You can take him out the games. I've seen the playoffs, and obviously players are different beasts, but you can take him out the game where he can't even catch a pass for the alley-oop. I've seen it where he was scared. He did not want to be involved offensively. And Donovan was like, just screw it. I'll put 52, 51, and carry his team on my back because you don't. I've seen literally easy lobs. Like he can mentally. I know we talk about Mitch, but Gorbear's another guy. We can find a way to bully him. Now, KC Smooth, good question. Said, how do you feel about Randle playing the 5 against Utah? That's a big mistake. As long as Gorbear's in there, I think that's a big mistake because you got Randle have to beast down low with him, on the offensive end, most likely, and then have to contend with him on the defensive. Not saying Gobert has great moves, but obviously any shot that goes up, there's going to be physicality down there, right? Again, we have to try to conserve Randall as much as possible. I looked up. I think Burks is questionable for Wednesday, so again, we're not going to have him. So you might get the same overexertion of Julius Randle until guys get healthy. So I don't think this is a game where you leave Randle out on the island. Pace and we don't clear. So.
Right. I think we might see it a little bit, depending on what's up with Nerlens Noel. But I mean, you know, that would be a way to pull Gobert out a little bit, but I just don't think I don't think you can be successful with it either, though, because for the most part, if you're not getting guys cutting to the basket, Utah's a good defensive team. So if you try to pull Randall out, if he's at the 5 and you're pulling Randall out and Gobert is on him, that is a way that you can get guys cutting to the basket. But Utah is also a good defensive team. And if they're cutting that off, now what? Because Randall's not going to be able to post up Gobert. He's going to block. I mean, this guy, Randall can't score over. He had a hard time scoring over Sabonis, who's not really a good defender. Right. In both Indiana games, he did not shoot well because those guys are tall and big, you know, and it'd be the same way against Gobert. So it is, you know, while it's an option and maybe you can go to it for a minute, you know, a couple of minutes. I don't think it's going to be something that you can do sustained. I don't think you can sustain it. I think you'll neutralize Randall on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball, to be honest with you.
All right.
You know, if you do it that way, you're going to need Mitch. I think, you know, there are ways, like I was saying earlier, that you can use Mitch to screen on the opposite side of the ball that'll take Gobert out of the paint. You know, if Mitch is setting, like if the ball is on one wing and Mitch is on the other side setting screens for RJ or for whoever the guards are or whatever, while there's action on one side of the ball, that's a way that you can get Gobert out of the paint because he's got to go and see what Mitch is doing. Right. So he at least has to be somewhere near Mitch, you know, unless he's just going to stand in the paint and get defensive 3-second calls or illegal defense or whatever it is they want to call. But that's a way that you can try to get him out of the paint a little bit, you know, have Mitch setting screens and doing some other stuff off the ball on the opposite side of the floor. So we'll see how that's going to work out. I think it's going to be a grind out game, though. It's going to be a tough grind out type of game.
You're going to need guys to hit some big shots. And if you guys take up the middle, you can draw them in. We need Bullock. We need Rivers. We need Quickley. We need even RJ. Not saying RJ should taking 5-6 threes. But we need, you know, we can use a good 2-3 threes from you tomorrow, RJ. Yeah, because people saying that, I think playing a back-to-back. Remember, I think we won our first game on a back-to-back, right? We played, what was this, Sixers, and then we played, who did we play after the Sixers that we won? Who's the first team we beat? Cleveland, was it?
I think so.
It was Cleveland?
I think so.
We played a back-to-back, I believe. So, again, and then they're losing tonight. So, if they sit guys early, they'd be like, look, we're going to lose to the Nets. Tomorrow, we come prepared. So, don't sleep guys. I know we're 4-3. We're not some playoff team where we could be, we take this team. Look, we take this 4-3. We go game by game. We keep quiet.
Exactly. You got to go game by game. I seen some people the other day when I did the post game and I put up our schedule for the week and okay, see, that's an easy win. I was like, come on, man, that's an easy win. You know what I'm saying?
Pascal Siakam's out. Oh, we got him. And what happened? They dusted us in the second half.
Right.
Guys, we're fortunate right now, but we're also winning. It's like strained winning. Like Randall and RJ are strained right now. Like let's chill out with it. Let's temper expectations. Let's try to take it game by game. We look up and we're above 500 by 20, 30 games. I'll be kissing the high heavens, right? We up to 40, 50 games, we're above 500. I'll be kissing the high heavens. But let's chill out. I've seen people talking about we elite now. You know, they would be like, first of all, guys, look, we got enough good content creators on YouTube that you don't have to be bothered with ESPN or something. I'm not saying don't watch it, but don't let those guys get your blood pressure. Like they do this for entertainment. Like they do this for I don't say they do it for shock value. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman now he said he's a Laker fan. I was like, dog, really? So let's just keep quiet. Like Juvenile said, be quiet. Tonight's the night we ride. Let's just slowly go game by game and let's see if we can grind out a win tomorrow. But hey, this is beautiful. Send us back. I don't know when he's getting back from the YouTube jail, but guys,
Monday. Be back Monday. I'll be back Monday the 11th. I'll be back on Monday the 11th. So early in the day, depending on what time depending on what time they release the hold on the account. I don't know. Maybe it'd be somewhere around 12, 2, something like that. Hopefully it's in enough time where I can do a pregame show or a game preview. And I got a couple of announcements that I'm going to make on Monday too. So hopefully, it does early and I can get on and make a couple of announcements and then go on from there.
Yep. So guys, please subscribe to, again, I posted the app, Wix. Posted another time. It's right there. Salute to Man. It's the Knicks. Salute to Diehard Knicks podcast. Errol. I'm sorry, I was pronouncing the name wrong. Salute to him. Please go subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Lawrence Tears. If you're home tonight at 11:45. I already killed Kevin W. So it's like I just gotta chill for tonight, man. I gotta get rest. But guys, please, I'll be on here tomorrow covering the Utah Jazz game. I'll be on here 30 minutes before the game. Give some preview stuff, talk. I know that Gavin was trying to call in. Please call him tomorrow because he's about to end the podcast. And look out, Gavin Kelly. He's a diehard Pacers fan. Their second team is the Knicks, so don't kill him. He's an honorary fan as long as we're not playing him. But 2-2 Sim, man, and we'll see you back here next time, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Probably Thursday.
Yeah, I think we have a game
Thursday because there's no game Thursday, right?
No game Thursday.
No.
And guys, please again, stay tuned for Sim's post game work. Man's post game work again, guys. You can have 3 different browsers open or 3 different tabs to support these channels when you're doing a post game. And suit you guys, man. We see you here tomorrow, man. Or see me tomorrow. See Sim tomorrow too. See us back here on Thursday. Peace.